Life has a way of testing families. Poverty can break the strongest homes. Anger can divide fathers and sons, and silence can stretch for years like a wall no one dares to climb. But sometimes, love and forgiveness can bring back what seemed lost forever. This is the story of a poor family struggling to survive in the busy city of Lagos. A bitter father, a prayerful mother, children mocked for their poverty, and a son who walked away after a terrible quarrel. Years passed with no word, no letter, no call. But what happened when the lost son finally returned? The room was small and stuffy, the kind of place where every sound echoed. Cracks ran across the walls like scars, and when it rained, water slipped through the rusty roof and left stains on the cemented floor. A single bulb swung lazily from the ceiling, its weak light barely strong enough to keep away the shadows. From the open window drifted off Lagos life, downfall buses honking impatiently, hawkers shouting, gala, pure water, children chasing tires down the street, and the smell of roasted corn from the roadside. On a wooden stool in the corner, Mama Tunde sat, slicing onions into a dented pot. She was in her early 40s, slim but hardened by struggle. Her wrapper was faded, her hands rough. By day she sold tomatoes, pepper and vegetables at a small roadside stall, but today's sales had been poor. Still, she cooked with the little she had, the kerosene stove hissing beneath her pot. As she walked, she hummed a hymn softly, her voice low like a whispered prayers. On the floor, her children walked quietly. Shege, 17, slim and serious, she carefully threaded a needle and tried to repair her torn school uniform. She walked slowly because the cloth was thin and weak, and one wrong stitch could rip it further. Kunle, 14, short and restless, he bent over his exercise book, holding a pencil so short it almost pricked his fingers. He frowned as he struggled with arithmetic, chewing his lip in frustration. By the window sat Baba Tunde, their father. He was in his early 50s, tall but lean, his bald head gleaming faintly under the bulb. Once he had been a proud carpenter known in the neighborhood for strong wardrobes and tables, but times had changed. Imported furniture and big shops had pushed him aside. These days, he survives on odd jobs, repairing broken stools or fixing weak doors. His beard was peppered gray and his eyes heavy with disappointment. The room was silent at first, except for the hiss of the stove and the scratching of Kunle's pencil. Then Baba Tunde spoke, his voice sharp and bitter. A child who walks away from home is no child of mine. The sudden outburst startled the children. Shege pricked her finger with the needle and sucked it quickly. Kunle dropped his pencil and it rolled across the floor with his eyes wide. Mama Tunde lifted her head slowly. Her voice was soft but firm. Don't say that. He is still our son. God is watching over that boy. Baba Tunde gave a short, hard laugh without looking at her. A son that disappears for years without a word? He chose his own road. Let him stay there. The children lowered their heads. The room fell into silence again, broken only by the hiss of the stove. The next morning, Mama Tunde carried her basin of tomatoes and vegetables to her usual spot by the roadside. The sun was hot and harsh. Sweat gathered on her face as she arranged the small pile of goods on an old wooden tray. All around her, the market was alive. Traders shouting their prices, bus conductors hung halfway out of danfos, screaming, Oshodi straight. The air was thick with the smell of fried akara, roasted plantain and dust. Then a woman stopped at her tray, eyeing the tomatoes. How much for these tomatoes? She asked. Mama Tunde replied, 1,000 naira, ma. The woman scoffed, 1,000? For these small tomatoes? Do you think I'm a fool? Other traders nearby laughed. Mama Tunde lowered her eyes. Mama Tunde responded quietly, it is just the price, ma. The woman muttered under her breath and walked away. As hours dragged, Mama Tunde sold little. At one point, she rested her chin in her palm, whispering a prayer. Lord, You fed Elijah with ravens. Remember me today. That same day, Babatunde sat at his carpenter's shed. The smell of sawdust filled the air as he walked on a shaky chair. His hammer tapped steadily, though his hands moved slower than they once had. A man stood over him. How much does it cost to fix this? Babatunde answered, 2,000 naira, sir. The man burst out laughing. 2,000? For this small work, I can buy another chair at that price. Take 1,000. Babatunde's jaw tightened. Pride fought with hunger. He swallowed hard and nodded. Okay, bring it. The man smirked, dropped the chair and walked off. Babatunde sighed, wiping sweat from his forehead. His hands, once celebrated for making fine furniture, now begged for scraps. That afternoon, Shege returned from school, with her face red with tears. Babatunde asked her daughter, Shege, what happened? She tried to smile, but her voice shook. Laughed at me again. They said my uniform looked like a rag. They said a girl who cannot pay school fees should stay at home. Babatunde hugged her tightly. Don't mind them. You will finish school. Your story will be different. Meanwhile, Kunle sat outside listening to boys from the street. One of the boys jeered at Kunle. Bring your books. Oh, wait, you don't have textbooks. They laughed loudly. Kunle clenched his fist but said nothing. Then he went inside and sat by his mother, then whispered, Maybe I should stop school, Mama. Let me work as a mechanic. At least I can make money and bring it home. Babatunde shook her head. Her eyes wet. No, Kunle, she said. Your time will come. You will not waste your life. That night, the family lay on their thin mattress, listening to the rain beating the roof. Drops of water slipped through the holes and landed in old plastic bowls scattered across the floor. Babatunde couldn't sleep. Her mind wandered back, as it always did, to that night, years ago, the night her first son walked away. She saw it again in her memory. Tunde was only 20, tall like his father. He was restless and always angry. His shirt had been torn in the heat of an argument because Babatunde's grip had been rough. You bring nothing to this house, Baba shouted. His eyes were red with rage. You call yourself a man, always chasing shadows in Lagos. I'm trying, Baba. Tunde's voice shook with pain. I work odd jobs and I carry loads at the market. Every penny I earn, I give you. What more do you want from me? Baba spat on the ground. You want respect? Bring real money. Until then, you are nothing in this house. The words stung Tunde like a slap. His face darkened. He grabbed his bag. One day, I will return, and you will know who I am. And with that, he stormed out. He slammed the door so hard it rattled the weak walls. Babatunde had run after him barefoot. Rain soaked her wrapper. Tunde, please, don't go, don't leave me. Her cries echoed down the street, but he never looked back. That was the last night she saw him. Since then, there had been no letter, no call, no word of life or death. To his father, Tunde was gone forever. To his mother, he was still alive somewhere, waiting for the day he would return. Every evening, she lit a small lamp and whispered his name. My son, Tunde, she prayed, wherever you are, may God guide you back home. Days later, their landlord stormed in one afternoon. His big stomach pushed ahead of him like a pregnant woman, with two tough-looking young men behind him. His face was set in a scowl. Babatunde, he barked, have had enough. By the end of this week, no money, no room. You all will sleep outside. Babatunde dropped to her knees. She clutched her wrapper. Please, Oga landlord, give us more time. I will pay little by little. But the landlord only laughed cruelly. Little by little? You've said that since last year. Prayer cannot pay rent. I want my money. He turned and stormed out, along with his thugs, laughing behind him. That evening, Babatunde came home smelling of alcohol. He staggered into the room with his shirt half open. This is all because of that boy, he shouted. That cursed son. He left us to suffer. Shege bit her lip. Try not to cry. Kunle turned to his mother and whispered, maybe I should stop school. But Mama Tunde cut in quickly. No, Kunle, you will not stop school. I will not allow you to waste your life. But later that night, as the children slept, Mama Tunde lay awake. She stared at the dark ceiling. She whispered through tears, Lord, it is in times of trouble that you show mercy. My son will not forget me. The end of the week came. The landlord arrived with his thugs, shouting for the whole street to hear. Throw their things out. Let everyone see what happens to people who don't pay rent. The thugs moved in quickly, dragged out their mattress, pots, and table. Dust rose as their belongings were dumped into the street. Shege cried out, throwing herself over her school books. Please, don't touch them. One thug shoved her aside. Kunle tried to pull the mattress back in, but another thug pushed him down. Mama Tunde dropped to her knees. She clutched the landlord's feet. Please, I beg you, give us more time. But the landlord kicked her hand away. Get out. Poverty should not live here. Neighbors gathered, whispering and gossiping. Some pitied, but others mocked. See how poverty disgraced them. Their son ran away and forgot them completely. Then, in the middle of the noise, a sleek black SUV rolled to a stop. Its engine purred softly, different from the rickety cars around. The car door slowly opened, and a tall man stepped out dressed in agbada, shoes polished to a shine. His face was older, sharper, but familiar. The neighbors gasped. One of them whispered, Wait, is that Tunde? Mama Tunde's eyes widened. She dropped to her knees, her voice trembling. My God, my son Tunde. She stumbled forward, clutching him tightly. Tears streamed down her face. Baba Tunde turned away, shame burning in his chest. Don't call me father, for I am not worthy. But Tunde walked straight to him and knelt. Baba, forgive me. I have returned. The landlord cleared his throat angrily. Who are you? Move aside. This is none of your business. Tunde reached calmly into his pocket and pulled out a checkbook. How much do they owe you? The landlord stuttered. 50,000. Tunde signed without hesitation. Here, double it and never disturb my family again. Gasps erupted from the crowd. The landlord snatched the check and he muttered apologies and hurried away with his thugs. The neighbors whispered in awe. God answered prayers. Mama Tunde's lamp never went out. Then Tunde turned to his siblings and placed money in their hands. From today, no more tears. You both will go to school in peace. A week later, the family moved into a clean 2-bedroom apartment. For the first time in years, the smell of rich stew filled their kitchen. Shege laughed as she unpacked her new clothes. Kunle hugged a new school bag, grinning wide. At night, the family gathered around a dining table filled with food. Laughter and joy replaced silence and tears. Later that night, Baba Tunde sat quietly in the living room, his eyes filled with tears. He looked at his eldest son and whispered, Tunde, I wronged you. I called you dead, but you gave us life. Can you forgive me? Tunde placed a hand on his father's shoulder. Baba, I forgave you the day I left. I only wanted to prove that our story was not over. Mama Tunde lifted her hands in praise, her voice breaking with joy. Thank God, my prayers have been answered. The neighbors who once mocked them now peeped in, astonished at their transformation, and Tunde's words echoed as the night grew still. When family is broken, forgiveness is the only key to restoration, and love is the door through which every prodigal returns. The story of the lost son reminds us that no matter how far we drift, love can still find its way home. Poverty, anger, and broken words may tear families apart, but forgiveness is stronger than pride, and hope is stronger than despair. For years, Mama Tunde's lamp burned in the dark. Her prayers rose night after night. People laughed at her faith. Neighbors mocked her tears. but she never gave up, and in the end, her hope was not wasted. Sometimes, the people we count as lost are only finding their way back. Sometimes, the ones we think are gone forever return with answers to prayers we prayed long ago. This is the end of my story. If this story touched your heart, share it with your loved ones and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so by now. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next story. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, every tale carries a lesson if only we choose to listen. Until I bring another true life tale your way, goodbye.